Does the mere mention of property tax season make your stress levels completely spike? Well, you are definitely not alone. Welcome to the explainer that's going to completely take the headache out of paying your Durham County property taxes online. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so let's just dive right in. Look, if navigating clunky local government websites or constantly worrying about missing some hidden deadline fills you with absolute dread, just take a deep breath. I get it, it's frustrating, but armed with the right roadmap, settling your tax bill is actually a total breeze, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Today, we're going to walk through this entire process, from start to finish. We'll get a handle on how Durham property taxes actually work, get you totally prepared to pay online, walk through the actual payment steps, figure out what to do if things go wrong, and finally, look at some really important relief options that you might qualify for. First things first, before we start clicking any buttons, we really need to build our foundation and understand exactly what it is we're paying. So let's solve the absolute most common bottleneck right out of the gate. Do not, and I mean do not, confuse your City of Durham utilities with your Durham County property taxes. They are handled entirely separately. The city is going to handle things like your water bill, your yard waste, parking citations, things like that. But if we're talking about real estate taxes, individual personal property, or business personal property taxes, that falls strictly under the jurisdiction of Durham County. Now, here's a timeline you're definitely going to want to remember. The statutory tax cycle actually gives you a pretty generous grace period. While your taxes are technically due on September 1st, you have all the way until January 5th to pay without accruing a single cent in interest or penalties. The whole cycle kicks off with the listing date on January 1st, rates are officially adopted by July 1st, and your bills will usually hit your mailbox right around August 10th. Basically, just settle that bill by January 5th and you're golden. So you're probably wondering, how much are you actually paying? Well, for the 2026 to 2027 cycle, the Durham Board of County Commissioners approved a countywide tax rate of 57.92 cents per $100 of property value. And that's exactly how your bill is calculated. To put that into perspective, if your property is assessed at $300,000, you're looking at a base county tax bill of around $1,737. Okay, now that we understand the basics, let's talk about getting prepared. Getting your materials together before you even open your browser will completely prevent you from abandoning the process halfway through. The good news? You do not need a massive stack of paperwork to get started. To pull up your specific liability on Spatialist, which is just the fancy name for the county's property database, you only need one of four things. Just have your physical address, the owner's name, the multi-digit bill number printed on your physical notice, or your parcel number, which is also known as a REDID. Any one of those will get you right into the system. Enter the new hero of our story, PayDecon-C. You can find this platform at paydecon.gov, and it completely centralizes the entire payment ecosystem into one modern, super clean customer experience. It launched in July of 2026, replacing all those older, clunky, fragmented systems. Now, you can actually manage your county obligations securely from your laptop, your tablet, or even just your smartphone. All right, you're prepared. You know where to go. Now, I'm going to walk you through the actual online payment process step by step. This digital pipeline is incredibly straightforward. It's essentially a four-stage process that seamlessly passes you from your initial property search right into the payment terminal. First, you just locate your record on the county's Spatialist database. Once you find your bill, the site automatically, and I mean automatically, transitions you right over to the PayDecon payment environment. From there, you choose how you want to log in, configure your payment amount, and hit execute. Now, when you reach step 3, you have to make a choice about your profile. Guest checkout is super fast if you just want to get in and out, but creating an authenticated profile, that's a real game changer. With an authenticated profile, you're not just making a one-off payment. You can securely save your bank routing numbers, keep a detailed history of your past receipts, and actually schedule payments ahead of that delinquency date. If you're the kind of person who loves a set-it-and-forget-it peace of mind, definitely go with the authenticated profile. Okay, listen closely to this next part because it is going to save you some serious cash. Using a credit card to pay a high-value real estate tax, that can trigger massive percentage-based convenience fees. Because the fee is a percentage of your total bill, paying with a card can get incredibly expensive very fast. Instead, I highly recommend using an e-check. By just typing in your standard bank routing and account numbers, you lock in at a low, predictable flat fee of exactly $3.25. It is a no-brainer. And here is another massive benefit of the e-check. If you need to break your real property tax obligations into smaller installments to help manage your cash flow,
You absolutely must use the e-check option. The system is literally designed to allow flexible partial payments this way, provided the full balance is cleared by the deadline, of course. But if you try to use Visa, MasterCard, or Discover, nope, the system strictly forces a payment in full parameter. So what happens if things go sideways? Maybe you miss a deadline or run into complications. Let's talk about troubleshooting. If you miss that January 5th deadline, on January 6th, unpaid bills instantly become delinquent, and the penalty is no joke. You get hit with a harsh 2% interest penalty in that very first month, and then 0.75% for every single month after that. That first month hit in January is steep by statutory design, and those subsequent fraction of a percent charges will just quietly stack up, month over month, until you completely clear the liability. And I'm not trying to scare you, but you really want to avoid delinquency at all costs. Imagine missing the deadline and thinking it'll just blow over. It won't. North Carolina law actually requires the tax administration to escalate enforcement. They will publicly advertise your debt in the newspaper. From there, it escalates quickly. They can garnish 10% of your gross pay, instruct your bank to freeze your accounts, and ultimately, even actively initiate direct property foreclosure to recoup the loss. Now, what if you're in the middle of appealing your property's assessed value? You still have to manage your payment strategy incredibly carefully, because an ongoing appeal does not stop interest from accruing. Sure, involuntary collections pause during an appeal, but the interest keeps ticking. You can play it safe and pay in full now, getting a refund if you win. You could make a strategic partial payment based on what you think the value should be, or you could defer entirely. But fair warning, if you defer and lose the appeal, all that backdated interest from January 6th becomes immediately due. Finally, let's wrap up with some good news. There are some really important safeguards and relief programs available for Durham residents. Durham County actually administers several highly beneficial tax relief programs. They are strict, yes, but they are there for fixed income, disabled, or economically vulnerable residents, and they can significantly reduce or even defer your tax burden. Whether it's the homestead exemption for seniors, the circuit breaker that limits taxes to a percentage of your income, or the low-income homeowner relief program run alongside the Department of Social Services, if you're facing financial hardship, you absolutely need to explore these safety nets. Ultimately, the entire goal of these modern digital upgrades is to put the power back in your hands. As tax assessor Kiara Doyle perfectly summed it up, PayDeco is designed to give you maximum flexibility and control over your civic responsibilities directly from your smartphone or laptop. It's about accessible, reliable service that meets you exactly where you are, securely and efficiently. Standard disclaimer time, folks. Please remember that while this explainer provides a really comprehensive overview, it is strictly an educational guide, not personalized financial or legal advice. You should always contact the Tax Administration Office at 919-560-0300 with specific account questions. If you are dealing with something complex like a bankruptcy filing or a complicated appeal, reaching out directly to the county's professionals is always your safest bet. So, now that you know exactly how the system works, the fees involved, and the pitfalls to avoid, what are you going to do? Are you going to let those harsh delinquency deadlines catch you off guard? Or are you going to take 5 minutes right now, head over to pay.decomp.gov, set up an e-check, save on those fees, and secure your financial peace of mind? The tools are right at your fingertips. Go get it done.